Welcome back to the channel. My name's Adam Smith, and inside this GameFound preview series, I'm now continuing with finale gameplay for Champions of Rokugan. This coming from Monolith Board Games. It's currently on GameFound right now. If you want to find the campaign page link, I've got it for you in the top right-hand corner. I've also got it in the video description and pinned comment, so you can find more information around this game beyond this series of videos. We're going to pick things up exactly where we left it off in part number 1. If you haven't checked out the rest of my GameFound preview series I've already released, I've got a prototype unboxing, a how to set up video, and part number 1, which will get you all caught up to where we're at right now. In the top right-hand corner is a full playlist link, which you can find all the previously released videos to this point. And you'll remember in part number 1, we actually transitioned from Act 1 because my yellow champion went into the meeting room up in the top left-hand corner, and after resolving the narrative, we moved into Act 2, which has a boss showing up in that space, which we cannot attack until we locate a document, which is being carried by one of the 3 shinobi on the board. We don't know which one has the document. The only way to find out is to take the shinobi down before they try and escape, while also the boss is trying to escape. So really we're trying to prevent anybody from escaping at this point. But if we take out one of the shinobis, we can take a look at the top investigation card, and if it matches the number on the token next to the shinobi we take out, we found the document, and we can use a simple manipulation to pick it up. And once we have the document, we are then able to go after the boss there in the top left hand corner. So knowing that the scenario is a defeat if even one shinobi escapes or the boss escapes, we now look at the exits for each of them. So you'll see 1, 2, and 3 down here for each of the 3 shinobi up top. So these are the ones we're going to be going after. So we got shinobi number 1 here taking the shortest path all the way down to 1, 2 is headed to 2, 3 is headed to 3, and the boss is headed to 4. However, there was a correction that I need to make right now in terms of where this token actually resides. For the boss, it's actually not going to be on this side. It's going to be on the opposite side of the game board. Now, the determination of where that token lands, whether it's here or here, when you're playing this scenario in the final version, it's going to come down to where you find the secret meeting room. If you find it on the left-hand side of the game board, the token will be on the right-hand side. If you find the meeting room in one of the locations on the right-hand side of the game board, the token will be on this side of the game board. At this point, we have Act 2 fully set up and ready to go, but there is one big correction I want to make from part number 1. You'll remember every time we did a successful investigation, so again, in part number 1, you can investigate, do that action, but you're not always successful. But when you are successful, then in that case, you're actually going to gain 1 glory point, not 1 honor point. So that's going to change things up a bit because our glory track off to the left needs to be adjusted for the glory gained for each of the champions based on their investigation successes. And then, of course, I gained honor in situations where I should have gained glory, so honor is going to be taking a little bit of an adjustment as well. So let's go ahead and make those adjustments now, and we'll move forward. In part number 1, there was 8 different meeting room potentials, and I had 7 successful investigations to eliminate 7 of the different meeting rooms to know that it was up there in the top left-hand corner. So I gained 7 honor points where I shouldn't have, and then should be converting those into glory. So one of those successes came from my main champion here. So we're going to remove an honor here and give her 1 on the glory track. 1 point of honor removed. We're going to remove the rest of the honor as per the successes from each of the other companion champions, and then we'll head to the glory track and we'll update all of them at once. The yellow champion didn't have any successful investigations, so nothing to change with that one. The white champion had 2 successful investigations in part number 1, so we're going to drop the honor by 2, as it shouldn't have been given there, and we're going to place it on the glory track. Next up is the red champion. The red champion was successful 1 time, so we're moving 1 honor and 1 point to the glory track. And now we move on to the final champion to correct, and that's the green one. The green champion had 3 successful investigations, which would have given 3 glory points, but again, instead I gave honor, so we're taking 3 honor away. And that's going to place one of the 5 champions that we have under control in a dishonored state, which means defense icons are not going to help during combat, which is certainly not good. And the green champion can no longer do investigation actions, but that's not going to be an issue because now the investigation deck is just simply a reveal when we take out one of the shinobis. It's not an actual investigate action anymore like it was in Act number 1. That's going to square away all of the honor points being reduced, as they should have all been glory. Now let's go to the glory track and sort out all the glory gains that happen. You'll notice on the glory track that all of the other champions, not my main one's right here, are currently sitting at 0, which is a pretty good indication that I had messed something up. So I'm really glad that it was pointed out. At this point, we can correct it with no major gameplay impact. We'll move forward. We're going to go ahead and get all these situated based on the honor that I took away from each of the different colored champions. They're all going to go up the corresponding amount of glory for their investigation successes, and also my main champion will go up the 1 as well. The glory track's been corrected. You'll see my main champion now currently in the lead with 4 glory. The green one has 3 and has reached a token, so we'll gain one of the tokens off of the board. The white one's at 2, red's at 1, and the yellow one has not gained anything yet. And as a reminder for the game, there are 2 major things you need to focus on when you're playing the game and one additional one for solo play. The first one is you need to make sure you complete all your objectives for a given scenario. We're working on that. The second one is to make sure that this honorable token ends up on or past the victory threshold. And the third, which is only introduced in solo play, is to make sure that my glory for my purple main champion in total is higher than the entire total of all the other champions I'm controlling, which it currently would not be. As you can see, 3, 2, and 1. That's a total of 6, and I've got 4, so currently I am behind. I'm going to need to work on getting my glory up further. Diving right back into gameplay, we continue with the yellow champion's turn. I still have 4 action points I could spend and use if I want to on the yellow champion, but I now have a boss in here I have to deal with, which I can't attack. I could try to disengage from the boss, which of course would cost me extra honor and also extra action points to pull it off to head south to the shinobi, but I don't have really the combination of things to make that worthwhile. So I'm going to actually hold on to what I have right now. We're going to stop right here for the champion's phase and now move to the enemy phase for turn 3. We're now going to perform movements across all the different enemies based on their behavior. The shinobi, as we know, are using the escape behavior, so they are simply just running for the exit. They are not going to initiate any combat whatsoever, as you can see them trying to get to their exit points. And with 3 action points to spend, they certainly move quickly. You'll see this one right here, number 1, moving from where it was, 1, 2, 3. It is trying to get around here and through to get to this exit right here. The second one here can either take 7 spaces from here, going straight down and then straight across over to 2, or it can actually come down here and then head through what's known as a dotted white line, is a narrow passage. You'll see the columns here. Only size 1 miniatures can get through here. If it happens to be a larger size miniature, 2 or above, they cannot make it through unless they spend additional action points, because they can't just burst straight through it, which is pretty cool. So this one is basically, it doesn't matter if it actually landed here, it started here, it doesn't matter if it actually goes here or here, it's 7 distance all the way to get it to its exit. So either one you get to choose in this case. And then the third one was up there with my red champion and went running right past our guys, not initiating any combat whatsoever. So now the onus is on us to go after them, but we still have other enemies to move. Now let's resolve movement for the Elementalists and the Samurai. The Elementalists here and the Samurai are both following the assault behavior pattern, and the default, there's actually 2 paths for the assault behavior. They're going to be using the mobile one, which is them trying to get as close as they can for an attack against the nearest champion, and that's going to be based on the number of action points they spend to accomplish that attack. So in this case, the Elementalist here has 4 action points. We know it's going to take 3 to initiate an attack, so it will use whatever it can movement-wise to get close. But here's the thing, the Elementalist has melee, which means, again, we can move into the same space, but if the Elementalist did that, it'd be 1, 2 to get into the champion that is red space, but then only have 2 action points left to do a melee attack, and it couldn't pull it off. So it's obviously not going to do that. It's always going to default to ranged if it has it first. And so it does have range, and so because of that, it's going to stay exactly where it is, because range is 1 to 2 spaces away. Over solid white lines is A-okay, so it has line of sight. It doesn't need to move at all, and then it'll use 3 of its 4 action points to initiate combat. Now, the game rules state that you go through all the characters first and then initiate all of their movements based on them and their behaviors, but as I know most of these are trying to attack our champions, I'm going to be putting it down any combat tokens that are possible as I can see them. So you can see the Samurai is the next one to resolve up there for movement, and of course he does not have range, so his focus is getting in the exact same space as my red champion, the nearest one, and so he's going to move using 1 action point to the south, and then the 3 he has remaining will allow him to have one of the combat tokens. So the red champion is going to be dealing with a couple attacks in the future. Let's continue to resolve the rest of the enemies. Next, we have a Samurai and an Elementalist down here. So the Samurai is just trying to get in the same space as the closest champion, which is obviously going to be the white and green one down here. So it's going to go ahead and use all 4 of its action points to get as close as possible. As it crosses over the double solid line, it costs 2 action points to do so. With its 4, it gets itself to here. And the exact same thing happens with the Elementalist. Even though the Elementalist has range, she's not able to draw line of sight in an orthogonal manner in connecting spaces to our champion. So it looks like she's 2 spaces away right now, but as you can see, there's no way to draw line of sight using the actual box going from the center essentially out in any direction to get to this space. She doesn't have the action points to do an attack anyway, but later she's going to have to either move into this position or this position in order to get into line of sight to do a ranged attack. Now on this side of the game board, things are a little bit more interesting because we actually have my main champion up here. So when these ones are going to activate, they are going to be prioritizing the one closest to them based on action points spent. So if I take her and have her go over the double solid line for 2, and then she moves again for 3, she's going to be 2 spaces away from me. She's going to stop right here, but she doesn't have enough for an attack. Moving on to the Samurai next with 4 action points, 2 over here, then 1, and then we have to determine if we're going up or down. It was definitely going up because the closest champion is going to be my main champion, so he is going to end up right here. That's going to do it for all the movement and potential combats that might come from these different enemies, but we also have a boss up there as well. So technically the only combats that'll come from regular enemies are going to be the ones up there to the red champion, but we have to figure out what the boss is doing. Now, before we talk about the boss, do want to mention the event token number 4 has changed to event token number 5, as it should correctly be. I mentioned this on screen much earlier in the video, but I just changed it over now. It doesn't really have any gameplay impact whatsoever, but essentially there's a specific number dependent, again, on which side of the game board that you found the secret room in. So I put the 5 event token on the right-hand side. It's no longer a 4. And over here, the boss is in the same position or same room as a champion. And so even though it has this escape behavior, the boss does something a little different. Instead of just focusing solely on running towards the escape area, which is event token 5, if it happens to run across any of my champions along the path, it's instead going to stop and combat them, which is not good. So he is really aggressive. He's going to try and slaughter anybody that he comes across. And what's really bad is I'm in the same space, so he is going to take 2 consecutive attacks against me because the Samurai Commander has 6 action points, which is pretty brutal. Now, as you guys remember, when we picked things up at the very beginning of gameplay, I was still within the yellow champion's turn. So what I could have done is to spend extra action points and lose honor to disengage from this boss and leave the room. And that would have lessened how many potential combats would be coming my way, because the boss would have had to move 1 for a cost of 1 AP, and then it'd be going across a double solid line. So it actually would be 2. And then on top of it would then do the attack, but only be able to do 1 attack. So I could have softened how many attacks were coming at me, but I haven't played this scenario yet, so that's the fun of learning as you go. So I got 2 nasty attacks from the boss that'll be coming my way. Let's start things off with the Elementalist, and it's going to be attacking my red champion from range. We got 4 elemental dice on my side to roll, 2 gray and a black coming in for the Elementalist. This ranged attack is now coming at me. This is a fantastic defensive roll. The Elementalists also gain 1 sword to add to their offensive attack against us if it's a ranged attack. So you'll see right here 1 sword on top of the 1 they have, so they've got 2. So we need at least 2 to defend against any hits coming against us. But now we can maybe focus on manipulating the dice to do some damage back at it, and maybe try and take it out. That might be a bit much, but we'll try and do some damage at least. So if I hold on to 2 of these, I've got the 2 defense I need, and then I still got these 2 I can roll in order to try to pull off something on the offensive side. It has 1 defense. Maybe I can break through that. My red champion does have 2 key points, so I'll spend 1 to re-roll this die here, hoping to see another one that matches what I've got here if we're sticking with this for the offensive side of the equation. And we got a fire. Okay, so in this case, we're kind of going either way here. So I'm going to make another roll and hope for something positive here. Here's hoping that I get what I need, and I don't, unfortunately. So we're not going to be able to do anything on the offensive side of the equation, but we blocked everything from them on the offensive side coming towards us. The Samurai in the same space is going to make an attack against me. I get 5 elemental dice for the defense side of the equation for this one, and there's an additional success on the attack coming from the Samurai, additional sword that comes right off the card, which is unfortunate. Let's go ahead and make the roll and see how we do. It's actually ended up being a really cool roll. We got 1 more reroll with a key point we can use. We got 2 of the water element, which is awesome. We've got 2 of the wind or air element, so that is going to allow us to do some defense there. But it has 3 coming at us. We have 2 on the defense. The void is not really going to help us right now, so we probably want to use the key point we have to reroll that one. So let's go ahead and do that and hope to see one or the other, either on the offensive side with the water or the defensive side with the air. Yes, we got the water. I knocked over one of the other dice, but that's actually a very, very good roll. So the enemy's coming at us with a total of 3 successes in terms of hits. So it's going to be 3 here, minus the 2 defense that we have here. So 1 is going to get through, knocking the health of the red champion from 6 down to 5. So we'll go ahead and knock that down like so. And then we got 3 of the water elements. And as we know, when we're inside of combat, it's going to provide us with additional +1 as a additional effect for having 3 of the water elements. So we get 4 out of that, and 4 against the 3 life points that it has, because it has no defense, is easily going to kill this samurai. With the samurai eliminated, we now take a look at the samurai card to see if we gain any glory points for the red champion, which we do. It's a +1, so we're going to bump the red token on the track up by 1. So 1 additional glory will jump the red one on top of the white one. And the red champion is going to jump up from 1 honor to 2 honor as it wounded one of the enemies. Now it's time for the boss to make attacks against us. It'll be doing 2 back-to-back attacks, which is not fun. We are able to roll our elemental dice, but we cannot put damage on this boss. We can simply just roll to try and defend the pain coming our way. So we've got 5 dice. This is a melee combat, and it's based on our dashboard's number, which is 5. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab the dice for this boss, which is going to be 3 black dice. The first time we're seeing 3 of the highest dice in the prototype currently, which is not going to be fun. Let's go ahead and make the roll and see how it goes for the very first combat. Now the boss has a similar effect on its card, which states it's going to gain 1 additional melee success against this hit. So it's going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 hits coming towards us, which is absolutely crazy. So if we want to be really, really effective on the defensive side of the equation, we want to get Earth, because Earth, if we get 3 of those, gives us an additional defensive bonus, which we could certainly make use of in this situation. So I'm going to try to hold on to this. And looking over at the yellow, actually, unfortunately, yellow right now does not have any more key points. So I don't have the ability to reroll anything at this point, because I actually leveraged them in the prior time frame when I was on the offensive side of the equation. So this is actually going to be quite nasty. So with 6 attack coming at us, the 5 off the dice, 1 off the card, and then I -1 for whichever of these elements I want to use for defense from earth or wind. That is going to be 5 coming through against the yellow champion, which is not good because I only have 4 life. That's going to be an instant elimination of the yellow champion. The boss is no joke. When a champion is eliminated, we remove the miniature from the game board. You keep the champion dashboard and scores as they were to fulfill objectives as necessary. Now, in this situation, their starting honor is going to be removed from the honorable victory threshold, but their destiny score doesn't change. Destiny score only matters once you get further into the scenarios, into the campaign mode of play. Their current honor is going to be removed from the group honor track, and they gain 2 glory points. So their starting honor, which was 3, is going to be removed from the victory threshold, which is this one right here. So it's going to drop from 18 down to 15. Next, the honor for that champion is going to be removed from the group token, the one that sums up the honor across every champion that I have in play. Now, as you remember at the beginning of the video, I did some adjustments to the honor track. I took away some honor because I'd given honor in part number 1 where I should have given glory. Based on those adjustments, this token sitting underneath should actually be in a different location right now, and then we'll go ahead and take the honor away from the yellow champion. The total group honor before the elimination of the yellow champion is currently sitting at 9. So now we remove the yellow champion's honor, which is sitting at 4, from the equation. And that creates more separation between our total honor currently and the victory threshold for honor that we need. We're currently sitting at 5, and the victory threshold is at 15. And as that champion no longer exists in play, we're going to go ahead and remove the activation token from the track. Now that the boss has cleared out the space where my champion was, its next focus is going to be using action points to get towards the escape route and that escape token. So at this point, because it's not going to do a second combat attack, it has 3 action points available for movement. Now for the boss trying to head over to that event token number 5 is trying to use the least amount of action points possible in order to get to that event token and get off the board. So when it reaches the event 5 token, just like a shinobi would, it can spend 1 action point to leave the board, but if there's another individual in that space, it has to actually spend 2, and of course if it's the boss, it's going to stay and try to wipe that individual out before it leaves anyway. But in this case, let's calculate which paths it could go. So it could go down here 1, 2, actually, sorry, over the double line. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, double line again, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then 1 to get out is 13. So 13 action points to go that way, or maybe it would take a different route going all the way around. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then 12 out. So it's actually going to go all the way around the bottom portion of the game board. So 2 action points to go south, and then 1 action point to go to the east, and it's on its way out. That's going to do it for the enemy phase, and as we know, there's 1 reinforcement token here, which means we have one of the spearmen appearing back on the board in the same space as these 2 individuals. A new spearman has spawned in based on the reinforcement token coming in, and the assault behavior like the rest of the enemies here, minus the ones that are trying to escape. On to the recovery phase, we do some upkeep where we check to make sure the group honor token's in the correct space, as we just did across all the available and still active champions in the game. Next, we remove any temporary key points we acquired, which we didn't get any, so we don't have to worry about that. We move any used key cubes to the available side, so everyone's going to get their refreshed 2 back. And then our champions' action point values are going to go back up by 6 for each of them. So overall, that's pretty good news because my main champion here has 4, which is now going to have a total of 10 at the max, which is awesome. Over here, the green one's going to go from 1 to 7. The red one here is going to go from 1 to 7. And also the white one going from 1 to 7. Something I just noticed on my red champion, which I didn't take advantage of, it says to gain 1 honor point when you eliminate an enemy whose starting life points are higher than 2. Remember that in defense, the red champion was able to attack back and take out the samurai who had a life point of 3 to start things off. So we actually gain an honor here, which will have an impact on our total group honor going up by 1. So total group honor is going to jump up to 6 as we make our way back up, hopefully to the victory threshold. We now go into turn number 4, so I've moved the marker to the 4th position, and we get to reset the activation track. Here's the activation order I've decided. My main champion's going to go ahead first yet again. I think she's in great position to do some serious damage from range. Let's start things off by activating her, as she has 10 action points available this turn. Now check out what she's got down here for her board. We haven't had a chance to use this yet, but if we can aim to hopefully get 3 of the air symbols, we can use Tempest of Air activation only. After you perform a ranged combat, you can move each enemy in your target's area to an adjacent area and inflict a wound on each enemy you moved. That could be very helpful for us. We have 10 action points with her, which is huge. She's in great position based on the enemies around her. She's even in range of a shinobi we can try and attack, and hopefully they will have what we're looking for. So let's go ahead and do some attacks against a shinobi first and see if we can actually pull off this Tempest of Air. So as you can see, my main character right here has range straight through to this location right here where a shinobi exists, so we can absolutely make a shot into this location. My main character's range allows me 5 elemental dice, and the shinobi has 2 gray and a black. Let's go ahead and make the roll and see if we can take out this thing from distance. That would be absolutely awesome. Now this ends up being a really bad situation for us because they got 3 swords and 3 defense, making it really hard to try and take it down. So my focus shouldn't probably be on getting a lot of offense, rather defense, to avoid getting hit too much. I am 1 element away from Harmony of the Elements, and that would avoid any damage coming to me, which is great. It also allows me to put 1 damage on the enemy for free, essentially, and that's it. It goes past all their shields no matter how much they have. So let's maybe lean into 1 attempt using a key point, 1 of 2, to try to get Harmony of the Elements. It is a shot in the dark. It's a 2 to 10 chance I'm going to land this, so about 20%. Let's see how it goes. I need water. Come on. You can do it. No, so it didn't work out. But you know what? That is still defense, so it's still better than nothing. So we can choose this for our defense side of the equation, and of course our offense will be blocked. So they're hitting us for 3. We have 2 defense, and we're going to go ahead and just take 1 hit, dropping us down to 4. Now I'm going to keep on attempting to hit the shinobi, so we're going to go ahead and use another 3 action points for another attack. So 1, 2, 3, bringing us down to 4. All right, let's see if this roll goes any better. We still have that 1 key point we can use. Hopefully we don't get such a nasty roll from the enemy this time. Let's see how it goes. Now this roll ended up being pretty cool, but it's going to be a wash on the offensive side for both sides of the equation. The enemy's throwing 2 at me, but my 3 air defense will block all of it. I'm throwing 2 elemental fire, and it's going to be blocked by all this. I don't really want to manipulate anything else any further at this point because I kind of got what I wanted off the first roll. So I'll keep my key point for a future attack. Now at this point, no offense is happening, but in terms of what is happening for special effects is I've got 3 air, which is going to give me 1 action point. It's going to go from 4 to 5, which is great. great. And I also get to heal 1, which is awesome. So I get that health back that I just lost moments ago. So I'm back to full strength on my character. Now, the next cool thing that this 3 air does is the Tempest of Air, which I was hoping that this would actually happen, and it did work out. It says, after performing a ranged combat, you can move each enemy in your target's area to an adjacent area and then inflict 1 wound on each enemy you moved. So my Tempest of Air allows me to put 1 wound on the Shinobi, which is great because now we only need 2 more to take it down, and 1 also on the Elementalist. And both of them have been moved closer to me, which is great, mainly because the Shinobi's being pulled further away from the exit, taking a slower time to basically get there, which is awesome. So now we just need 2 more hits to take that one down, and I still have action points to spend. I also gained 1 honor point because I inflicted a wound on an enemy, and it doesn't count twice over for the 2 enemies that I hit. So in cases where one action ends up with multiple hits across multiple enemies, you don't gain an honor for each one, just 1 overall. But that's still nice. We're going to bump ourselves up to 4. So we're all squared away after that attack. It didn't end up getting as much as we hoped, but maybe the next one will. So we're going to go ahead with another action to attack. So 1, 2, 3 to do the exact same attack from range against the Shinobi. All right, let's hope things pan out nicely for us. We want to see some blanks on these enemy dice. That would be awesome instead of all these wonderful defense it keeps getting. On the enemy side of the equation, 3 hits coming against us with 2 defense. That's going to be pretty tough. I'm going to use my final key point. These are the 2 dice I want to roll. I'm keeping these ones. I got 2 Void. Of course, I can use Call the Void to convert 1 and discard this. I'm going to be aiming for 3 Water, because if I get 3 Water, I get the additional offensive success, which is a total of 4 if I can pull off getting 3 of them. And that will be minus the 2 defense, the 2 wounds I need to take out the Shinobi. So I'm using a key point right now to re-roll these, hoping to see either a Void or a Water element come through. That is the hope. Let's see if it happens. Yes. It's also nice too because we got some defense in here, just a single one. We'll go ahead and use Call the Void to convert and discard this die to the equation. So that's 3 right there on the attack on the offensive side, I should say. And then a +1 on top of it is 4. Minus 2 defense is 2. That's going to kill this Shinobi. The Shinobi's coming at me with 3. I have 1 defense, but 2 is going to get through. So I'm knocked from 5 down to 3. Now, I not only wounded an enemy, which gives me 1 honor point, driving me up to 5, which is great, but I also killed an individual. When I eliminate 1, then my glory points go up by 1. And that's great news because I am fighting all the rest of the glory points from the rest of the champions. Now, when we take out a Shinobi, we got to check the top of the investigation deck to see if it matches the same token that was next to it, which was a 3. Let's find out. There's only 3 cards. Let's find out which one it is. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. We got the first one right off the hop. So that means we've actually found the document that we need across the 3, which is good news, but it drops to the ground at this point. We still need to use a simple manipulation in order to pick it up. So very fortunate we were able to find out which of the 3 Shinobis was carrying the document, and it is number 3, which is now sitting right here. So we'll remove 1 and 2 as these no longer matter to reveal, and also the investigation deck can be removed from the equation. But again, we still have to prevent the Shinobi from escaping or the boss from escaping. If any of them escape, there's still a defeat that happens. Now, what is awesome is that I have 2 action points remaining, so I'm going to use those last 2 action points to actually move down 1 position, and then I'm going to use a simple manipulation, which will be 1 action point to pick it up. Now that I've collected the document, we can actually start attacking the boss at this point and taking it down. It is finally open to attacks. It's now on to the Red Champion's activation. I'm definitely going to have it come down here and help out. It's going to come barreling into the space, and the Elementalist already has 1 hit against it, so we might as well try and take that one out to lessen how many individuals are being attacked here. So I dropped it by 4 action points in total, 1 to move and then 3 to attack. It has 3 action points left, which is great because we can do 1 more attack after this. It's got 5 dice coming in for the roll, and going up against the Elementalist in terms of a melee type combat, it's going to be a black die. Oh, sorry, it's going to be 2 gray dice for the Elementalist. So not as many dice, which is good. Let's go ahead and make the roll and see whether we can get the 2 damage we need to take this thing out. Hopefully we can. This ended up being a great roll too. We got 1 defense for the enemy, which is perfect. We have 3 offensive based elements we can use for 3 right there. These 3 also give the special effect of another key point, which I'll use. I'm not going to use that specific key point because I haven't gained it yet, but I'll use one of the 2 I already have right now to re-roll these water elements, and we're going to see if we can land some defense because we have 2 coming at us, and I want to see if I can try to prevent damage coming to the red one. So we got ourselves actually 2 defense. We have to pick which one we want to use unless I want to burn another key point. Don't really know if I do because I have another attack coming, so I'll just hold on to 1 for now. So we'll go ahead with the Earth, and we'll not use this one. So the 3 fire is going to generate 3 offensive successes against the 1 defense. So 2 gets through, and 2 on top of the 1 we already have is enough to kill this thing. It's coming at us with 2. We're blocking with 1 earth. So 1 damage does get through on the red individual here, dropping from 5 to 4. We do gain a key point because we had 3 of the fire emblems. So we'll place that in here in the available pool, which is awesome. And this individual has been taken out, not only wounded, but also eliminated. So a glory point and a honor point. So we'll jump the honor up here for the red one by 1 and 1 up on the glory, which is going to give it a defensive token. So the glory going up for the red one is going to bump to here, which is going to give the defensive token. We can definitely make use of that in the future. Now let's go ahead with the final action I'm going to do with the red champion. We're going to spend 3 action points. We're going to do an attack against this samurai. It's worth mentioning that we do have numerical superiority. So because of this, we are going to lose an honor point. And we're also going to be able to take 1 die away from the samurai. The samurai rolls 3 gray. So we'll only roll 2 gray, which are actually currently part of the pool right now, which is perfect. So we're going to go ahead and roll all these dice and see how we do. Well, my friends, that is absolute devastation for the samurai. The samurai is going to be hurting real bad. So what I want to do is kind of lean towards the defensive side of the equation here. We'll use a key point to re-roll. We do not need this many. So I'm going to roll these 2 because these alone are going to provide me with 3 plus 1, 4 offensive successes going in, which is a lot, minus the 2 defense, which will be 2 getting through, although that's not enough to actually kill it outright. So maybe we do kind of want to hold on to this and maybe just re-roll the 1 to just be safe, to make sure that we actually can kill it. So let's go ahead and just re-roll this one, just hope for a defense to block the 1 sword that we have. And there we go, we got it. So we're not going to take any damage, and we completely wipe that individual out. That was absolutely awesome. The red champion coming through and cleaning up the entire area over there. Less to deal with in the future and less damage coming at our champions, which is great. We gained an honor point thanks to the wound we were able to place on. And we also are going to gain glory for this individual because it eliminated. It's going to jump up from 3 to 4. We also don't want to forget about this. Gain 1 honor point when you eliminate an enemy whose starting life points are higher than 2. So the second enemy took out, the samurai had 3 life points to start. We were able to wipe it out. So because of that, we're going to go ahead and jump up on the honor track by 1. Also, a couple things to mention is remember these effects on the card. So we attack the elementalist and the enemy gains a sword or a success in combat during a ranged combat. That does not apply when we attacked it, but this one does. This enemy gains 1 sword success during a combat. So that one would actually hit us for an additional damage, but I do have a defensive token for the red champion, so I can use that right now, discarding it to negate that. And that's going to fully finish up the red champion's turn. We're moving on to white. Going into the white champion's turn, it's important to note that the champion has 3 out of 6 health. When you're at half health or less, you're going to be rolling 1 less die in your test, which means if we do an attack action, which I want to do right here against this spearman, I'm only rolling 4 elemental dice. Now, the good news is, and kind of bad news, we are outnumbering this individual, so I'm going to lose an honor for initiating an attack, which I'm going to do, but I'm also going to be removing 1 die from the equation for this spearman. The spearman comes in with 1 white die, another white die, and a gray, so 1 of the whites will be removed as we've outnumbered it. I spent my AP, I lost an honor, we got all the dice pool ready to go. Let's make the roll and see how we do. Hopefully we can get what we want to see off these dice. I've gone ahead and used a key point. I'm going to re-roll some stuff here. I'm going to hold on to the air, and we're going to re-roll everything else and hope for something better because the roll it got is pretty bad for me. I really want to see some more attack here, but I don't know if it's going to pan out that way. Okay, interesting. So we're back yet again at 1 of each element, which is not helping me out here. This is going to be... Now, again, I could use deception or I could use other dice manipulation to try and change this. But again, that's going to cost me honor, which I don't want to spend as it's going to affect the group honor token at this point. And I'm trying to gain honor rather than lose it, but I seem to be losing it at quite a substantial pace here. So what I'm trying to figure out is whether I should use my last key point or not, but I still have 1 attack left to do. It's just with 4 elemental dice, it's not great. It's not the white champion is not in the best situation to make these attacks. The green one will be in a better space as I will not be in a weakened state when the attacks are made. So I might have to just kind of gamble, I guess, and use another key point. We'll hold on to the air yet again and just try to stop the bleeding from coming through. See what we get. Oh, interesting. Okay, so we got a couple of voids. We could use Call the Void right now to get something out of this. But again, if I change this to water, it's going to be blocked, so I might as well change it to defense. So we're going to go ahead and discard or sorry, I discarded this one in order to change this to an air symbol. So we have 2 defense, 1 attack. The 1 attack is negated. The 2 defense block all of the offense coming through. So essentially nothing gets through. Now again, I could choose to disengage right now and I can move out, but it costs 2 honor points to disengage plus an extra action point to move out. So it'd be 2 action points to move out plus losing 2 honor. That doesn't really sound beneficial. It might make sense to just stay put and do another attack action and hope for better results. Again, we're losing 1 honor point for doing this because we have an outnumbered situation going on here. So I'm still losing honor, but not as much as if I disengage and run away. So we're going to try this yet again. And again, this individual's outnumbered, so lost a die. We only have 4. Hoping for a better result. Maybe we'll get 3 of something or get closer to 3 of something. Oh my gosh, we got so much defense there. And actually, in the end, we're going to need it. There's no point even re-rolling this. There's no way I'm going to let that much damage go through. We're going to stop right here. And again, it's a completely nulled attack. That's going to do it for the white champion. We're moving on to the green one, who's in a little bit better of a situation. Hopefully, we can get something off the 5 elemental dice. And it's a bit scary because in the future, these shinobis are going to be running towards their exits. And this one here is the one I'm worried about the most. Is going to go 1, 2, 3. It won't be able to get out, but it'll be right at the exit token, which is terrifying. And I still need to get through there to get to it. And it's going to be tough. It's going to be very tough. So as of right now, we got the green individual over here. We're going to go ahead and spend 3 to try to take down this spearman. It's going to have us lose an honor. So unfortunately, we are dishonored at this point, which is dangerous because at this point now, we have we have no shields whatsoever going into these attacks. So even this small guy can actually hurt us quite badly. So it is going to only have 1 less die, so that's nice. But we do actually get all 5 of our dice because we are not in a weakened state. We still have lots of health. So let's go ahead and make the roll here and hope for better things with more dice. I'm hoping for the results to be better. Let's see how it goes. All right, so here's what we're aiming for. We got 2 of the fire elements. We want to see more of those. Let's use a key point and re-roll these 3 to see if we can get ourselves up there enough to take this individual out for good. We got ourselves, nothing of what we wanted here. And now we're in an interesting spot. This is not what I was hoping for. So what do we do here? Do we keep looking for this success? It's tough. I'm going to go ahead and use 1 more key point. I'm going to try to do this. I do not want to push my dishonor any further down the track, which is terrifying. Okay, so we got 1 here, which is nice. That's going to be 3. So this actually works out pretty good because 3 on the offense with 1 defense is the 2 we need to take it out. So we can actually kill it, which is great news. We wound it and kill it. So that's positive. And then in terms of it coming after us, we actually have an attack and avoid, which has no defense. So basically 2 is coming through, which is unfortunate. So the green individual can, actually, no, I can't. I'm not allowed to use any defensive successes. And I believe that includes tokens as well when I'm dishonored. So the 2 damage is going through. And there's nothing I can do to stop it. So I'm dropping down to 4. Now I do gain a key point, which is awesome, thanks to the combination of the 3 fire there. I also go up 1 on the honor track because I'm able to take out this individual, which is great, and I'm going to gain a glory point. It's nice to see us taking individuals out, but it's not good to see these glory points going up for these other champions, going to 4. Unfortunately, we do not get the clan bonus of 1 honor point for eliminating an enemy that starts with life points higher than 2 because that little enemy started with just 2 life points. It wasn't higher than 2. So now we have to figure out what we want to do next with 4 action points. I mean, strategically, we could try to move here and then move into here for 1. And I could use 2 movement to disengage and get into this spot with this individual to maybe be where I need to be. My state of dishonor would be horrible, though. It would be at -5 if I was to do that. But I think that that's the only thing I actually can do in this situation. But it's still not good. So I'm going to go ahead and move for 1. And then we're going to move for another 1. And then when we're in here, we're going to lose 2 honor. So I'm dropping my honor from -3 to -5. And then I'm spending the final 2 action points that I have in order to move out of that space and into the space with the shinobi. But I can't attack it. But at least I can kind of get into a spot where if this shinobi runs away in the future to the exit, I could loop around and potentially go after it. Although these enemies are certainly going to be eyeing me. That and the boss figure, which is currently sitting right up here to the north. It's not looking good. So we're now on to the enemy phase. Let's start moving them 1 by 1. We'll start with the ones that have the escape route in mind. So obviously the shinobis are heading to their respective places. Not good, not good. Now I place the tokens back so you can actually see which shinobi belongs to which exit point. So this one here, again, when it moved from where it was at, it actually went from here, 1, and then 2, 3 is across the double line, has 1 more action point left to spend, but it costs 2 more to cross over, which I just noticed now. So it actually takes a little bit extra to get through here. So it's going to stop there. It can't use the extra action point. And then this one over here used its allotment to move from here, 1, 2, 3, and then it tries to move forward, but it can't because it's a double solid line, so it stops there. The boss, on the other hand, has 6, so it was way up there, and it moved all the way around, but it used the inward path because it is a unit of 1 size, and it can take that inside route to go around everybody and head down this way. It is getting closer to, well, all of them are getting way too close to their exit tokens. The Samurai has 4 AP, so 1 to move in, 3 to take a combat token against the green champion. This one here, the Elementalist, has a total of 4 AP, but is closer in AP to do an attack against this one than bothering to move and then go after this one, because again, it's based on how many AP is used, so it's going to turn like this and focus on the green champion here. Now, as I mentioned on screen, in the prior enemy phase of the last turn, I did not activate these individuals and move them or do any attacks. Now, it's worth mentioning at the time they would not have been able to pull off any attacks. So going back in time, we had a white champion here and a green champion here. So this individual would have come through for 2, 3, and come into the same space, but not had enough for an attack. And this individual would have gone 2, 3, and stopped because now within range to make an attack. And that's basically it. Now, at this point, the activations would actually occur for these individuals, and as you'll notice, this one here would have certainly had an impact on what happened in this space during this turn, but we can't retroactively go back and change any of that. But for right now, this individual is going to attack this white champion. So I'm going to go ahead and place a combat token here to remind us to action that, and a combat token here to action this one going as well. And last but not least, we have this individual, the Elementalist, moving 3 action points to be able to take a future attack against the green champion, but not going to happen right now. We also got to make sure we place a combat token next to this individual who didn't have to move much in order to target this one. So we have 4 individuals that will be making combat attacks. The first combat will be the Samurai here coming at me with 3 dice versus my 5 elemental dice. Let's go ahead and make the roll and see how we do here. We got ourselves, all kinds of pain coming our way, but we got a great roll on the water element. To be completely honest, this is probably as good as it gets because I'm currently dishonored with the green individual, and so because of that, I can't use any defense to block anything at all, but I can certainly attack. So first off, the 3 that's going to come through is not going to kill me. I'll be 1 shy of death, but this combination I have right here is going to provide 4, which is awesome. It only has 2 defense, which means 2 is getting through. Is that enough to kill it? No, it's not. So maybe what I'll do is use one of my points, my key points, to try to reroll things. Let's keep pushing for more water elements and see if we can get the additional one we need. Come on. Yes, we got it. So only focusing on the offensive side of the equation, as I'm dishonored and can't use any defense, I'm going to be taking 3 hits, which is going to drop me from 4 down to 1. But the 4 successes I have here, plus the 1 for having 3, which is 5, minus 2 defense is 3, which is enough to completely wipe out the Samurai and also gain 1 honor from this, as well as 1 honor from being able to wound it. So we get 2 honor, jumping us back up to minus 3. Going forward, this champion's in a weakened state, but at least we're still standing. Green is going to jump up 1 more on the track, which is going to land in the same position as my main champion. But unfortunately, the Samurai gains 1 extra sword during combat, which is enough to take out the green champion. The starting honor of 3 is going to be removed from the honorable victory threshold, so that token is going to drop from 15 down to 12. So the threshold is dropping down to 12. Also, the honor for that green champion no longer is going to be part of the equation when we update it in the very near future. And 2 glory is given to the green champion, jumping it up to 7. It's going to take a token, but it's going to be gone anyway, so it doesn't matter. Next, we're going to go ahead and resolve an attack on this individual from this one right here, the Samurai attacking my white champion. So we're going to go ahead and roll the dice. 4, because currently I have 3 health or less, which means I'm in a weakened state. So I've got 4, the 3 going for this individual. Let's see how this roll pans out. Getting a little bit scared at this point in the game. Oh my gosh, there is 3 swords right there, and we do not have the best roll in the world. We have 1 of each. I've got 2 key points remaining. Now, these 3 swords right here will kill my individual if I do not block all 3 of them, because I only have 3 health left with this one. So I need to focus on defense, and I've already got 2 of the air, which is pretty solid. So let's go ahead and try to search for more of those. We'll re-roll this and see what we get. We got this. Nice. We can use Call the Void. We'll go ahead and transform into 3 of these. So we're not doling out any damage, but we're also not taking any damage, but we do gain an action point, which is great, and we get a life point back going up to 4. which is good news because we're no longer in a weakened state. Ah, yes, but I forgot yet again, the samurai has that effect that every time it's attacking during combat, it gets an extra sword off its card. So instead of having just the 3, it has 4, which is 1 beyond what I could defend. So that is going to drop me back down to 3. So yes, I am still in a weakened state, which is unfortunate. And then over here, the Elementalist is going to make an attack against me. And so I'll take this die away because I'm only going to have 4 for this roll. The Elementalist is going to be using or gaining a sword during this range combat just by default, which is not fun. And it's going to get 2 gray and a black. So this could be bad because we are at 3 health right now. We've got 1 key point for rerolls as well. It's got 3 swords coming against me, so we could use these 2 to convert to an air. So maybe I'll use my final key point to reroll the water element, looking for all defense and not really focus on the attack side of the equation. There we go. So we can actually go ahead and discard this and convert both of these to this symbol here. This will give us back a life point. We get an AP point, and we also negate all of the damage, the 2 that are coming from here and the 1 off the card. So we're not in a weakened state. That combat's resolved. The only one left is this one here. Now, in the rules, I wasn't able to find the exact rule for when you get into a situation where you've done all the movement for the enemies, you're now going through combat tokens, but then there isn't a target for this individual to attack anymore, but still technically has 3 AP being used on a combat. Does this just go away at this point, or does it convert to movement and they just get in position for a future attack? I'm going to choose that they don't just lose it, that they would actually be smart enough to use some of it to get into position, even though it is a combat token. In the final version, that might not be true. You might just leave them exactly where they are. I'm going to say that it's going to move to be able to make an attack in the future. All the attacks have been resolved, so now we're going to have reinforcements come in. We have a spearman coming at this location, which is not good for my white champion. I really want to get out of that space. Now let's calculate our group honor to make sure the token's in the right spot. So we have 5 honor currently with our main champion. We have 1 honor on the white champion, and we have 5 honor on the red champion for a total of 11, which is actually not bad. We are very close to the threshold. Now, on the solo side of the equation, looking at the glory track, currently this individual has 7, I have 5, and this individual has 4, and then 2. So right now we have 6 right there and 7. So that is a total of 13 versus what I have, which is just 5. So I've got a long way to go. Now, I have an objective card that if I happen to get my honor up 2 points higher than my initial score, I get 4. That would bring me from 5 up to 9, but I still need to get a little higher. So if I want to gain more glory, I can either do it in-game, as you see me gain glory for taking out enemies as I go, or I can actually go fishing in my objective deck for the clan to try to get more cards. But if I don't complete any of those objectives, they will bring me down. At this point, I've eliminated any extra key points that I had across my champions. I also gained all of my action points, and the key points 2 for each champion are made available. We are now headed into turn number 5. The activation track has been set. I'm going purple, red, and then white. Now going into turn number 5, I've got my work cut out for me because 3 of these enemies have behavior conditions of escape, and that is going to be the Shinobi one heading to 1, 2 going to 2, the boss heading to 5. The boss has an LP value of 8, so life points of 8. That's a lot. The Shinobis have life point values of 3. I need to take out all 3 of them in order to prevent any of them from getting off the game board, and unfortunately, they're all in position with the AP they'll get in the enemy phase to be able to get off the board, so I definitely need to take them all out, and with only 3 champions remaining, that is going to be tough. We're going to make an attempt at it though. So starting off with my main champion, she is going to make a ranged attack at 2 range away to the boss. I've dropped my main champion's AP from 6 down to 3. I am currently not weakened, so I do get all 5 elemental dice on this ranged attack as it states around the dashboard for my main champion. 3 black dice coming in for the boss, which is going to be terrifying, and it has an automatic defense. From what I can see here on the card, it has a defense of 1 right out of the gates, which is not fun. So let's go ahead and make the roll here and see what happens. And I'll look that keyword up just to make sure I'm interpreting that one correctly. It also states the boss gains a sword during melee combat. This is not melee combat, and I just accidentally knocked that die over. But look at all the void icons I just got. I looked at the keyword for defense, and it gets 1 additional defense for ranged attacks. So I believe when I'm attacking it right now, it has that defense as I'm attacking from range. So it's got 1 defense, but it has 3 attack, which means it's slightly open to being hit. And it's actually pretty good because we got a ton of void here. We can actually go ahead and discard 1 to convert these 2 to a water element. And now we've got 3 here, plus we get 1 for having 3. So that's a total of 4 combat successes, plus we have 1 here for defense. So that's not bad. So 4 combat successes against the boss's defense of 1 means 3 are getting through, dropping its life from 8 to 5. The boss landed 3 swords. It does not gain the additional sword because it's not melee combat that's happening right now. It gets 3 swords minus my 1 defense, which means 2 is getting through. So with 2 damage coming towards us and we have 3, we're dropping down to 1, which is not good because that is definitely half of our original health starting point at 5. So we are in a weakened state. We are half or under. So because of that, we're only rolling 4 elemental dice going forward, which is not good. And we are very close to death. Now we don't gain this because we have to sustain none in terms of damage to us in melee combat. We did actually get the 2 damage on there or more, but we weren't able to stop the damage coming towards us. And I can't take advantage of any of this other stuff right now. However, we did put damage on the enemy, and because of that, we gained an honor point. So I've jumped myself up to 6, which is pretty solid. Again, I'm trying to get up to 2, so I can be 2 higher than my original honor, so I can complete this objective to get 4 glory. I've still got 3 more action points to spend, so let's go ahead and make another attack because I didn't even have to use any key points during that attack, so I've still got 2 remaining. So we're going to spend 3 action points right now, and we're going to reroll all this, but now I only get 4 elemental dice because I'm not in a great state. I am considered weakened, so here we go. Here's hoping I can pull something off. And as you can see, we got a lot of swords coming our way, so this is definitely not a positive. Now, I got some key points I can go ahead and spend to try to make something of this. I could convert and get another heir here. I could re-roll this to try to get 3, but even with 3 defense, actually, I guess with 3 heir, I would get the additional 1 on the defensive side, so that'd be 4, and I could actually block this attack completely and not be taken out. That's probably what I should do, seeing as anything else would be bad, unless I want to lean into dying in order to get more damage on this individual if I think I can actually pull it off, because I could go the other way and I could use Call of the Void here to convert this to a water and then try to reroll this. So knowing that I'm probably going to die, maybe I should actually push into getting some damage against the boss. Let's go for it and be crazy. I'm going to spend a key point right now to reroll this one here and see how things pan out. And we got it. Look at that. So we're going to go ahead and discard this to convert this like this. We get 3 of these, which is a total of 4. 1 gets blocked, but 3 gets through. Actually, only 2 gets through because of the defense here for ranged attacks. So 2 on top of the 3 means we got a total of 5 now. Unfortunately, though, we cannot block any of the damage coming back to us, and it's going to completely wipe out our main champion. Before I'm taken out, I get 1 honor because I was able to do damage to the boss. So we're going to go ahead and jump ourselves up to 7, which is great because at the end of the game, as it states in the objective here for the clan, we can secure ourselves 4 additional glory points for our character because we have at least 2 points higher than the initial honor, which is 5. So we're at 7, which is awesome. My main champion falls in battle. As we know, when a champion is eliminated, their starting honors can be removed from the honorable victory threshold. The starting honor for this character was 5, so we're dropping the threshold from where it's at 12 down to 7. We're also going to gain 2 glory points, so we're jumping ourselves up from where we're currently at 5 to 7. We're going to gain this token, but it won't matter because we've been taken out. And that's going to do it right there. We're going to move on to the red champion. The red champion has 6 AP. We'll drop it by 2 to move 2 spaces right into the space with the boss. We're not going to initiate combat, so we'll drop ourselves another 3 down to 1. Now here's the unfortunate thing. I'm currently outnumbered, which is good because I gain an honor, but bad because I lose a die. So basically we're going to go ahead and go up by 1 honor. We're making an attack here. We're going to go ahead and lose a die, so I don't actually have 5 in the end, which is a little bit worrying because I have to pull off a decent amount of damage to take this out. We currently have 5 on the boss. We need a total of 8, so I need to get 3. I really will be leaning hard for the water element to try to get that combination of 3. I do have honor to spend if I need to push this through. So let's go ahead and make the roll. Also, the boss might actually hit me quite hard here, and I'm hoping that doesn't happen. Here we go. So a great roll to start. We got 2 for the water, so we're definitely going to go ahead and re-roll these 2. We've got lots of attacks coming towards us, and we got some defense to get through. So we certainly need to land the 2 more water elements. We'll give it a shot here. We'll use a key point right now to see if we can pull this off with a re-roll and hope for the best. See how many more we can get on top of this. We got ourselves 1. That's good. So now we've got the 3. Plus, we technically have a defense here, which is actually good to hold on to. And that will actually keep us alive. So I think that's pretty good. Now let me take a look at the commander here. Now it is melee combat now, so the commander actually gains 1 additional hit from the card, which is unfortunate. So it's going to be 4 coming against me, -1. So 3 is going to get through. I have a total of 4 health, so I'll be down to just 1. But I think this is exactly what I want. So we go down to 1. The 3 water elements are going to give 4 -1 for defense right here. This defense only applies to range, and I'm doing melee. So 3 damage getting through, and we have taken the boss out. Now that is a huge accomplishment, and in hindsight, likely should have had my main character do this. So in other words, I should have changed the activation order to have my main character go second to do the final blow, because at this point what's going to happen is 5 glory points are going to the red champion, which is not good for the solo mode. So the red champion is going to shoot up the track here with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 landing right here, able to take not only 1 from here, but 1 from here as well. This token here is obviously for an additional hit, successful on combat, and this one allows you to reroll an enemy die, which is very useful. The red champion gets 2 honor points, 1 for doing at least a wound to the enemy during its attack, and then on top of it, it's also going to gain this ability up here that states for the clan, gain 1 honor when you eliminate an enemy whose starting life points are higher than 2. There was 3 left on the boss, so that's 2 honor points going up, so jumping up to a total of 8. Now this is where things get interesting, because I don't have enough action points to be able to go after this individual, which is unfortunate. That's going to be basically the end of this character's turn, as there's nothing else I really want to try and accomplish right now. The red champion is done activating. We're now moving on to the white champion. It's worth mentioning that even though I lost my main champion I was controlling, unless specified by the scenario or something specific for the solo rules, you don't necessarily lose just because you lost your main champion, because we'll be checking things at the very end to see how we did, if we can even accomplish the rest of the objectives we need to do. And here's the trouble spot for the white champion right now. The white one has a lot of action points. We've got 9 with this individual, but we have to get all the way over here and take out this one, and we also have to go all the way over here and take out that one, and this individual only has melee, so I have to get into both spots to do attacks, and that just isn't possible. So first off, disengagement is going to cost 2 honor just to do it. So that's going to take us from where we're currently at 1 down to -1, which is not a great place to be at, because now we're dishonored, and now our armor is not going to mean anything, but we can get out of that space. It's going to cost 2 movement to do it, though, because it costs an additional 1 to get out beyond the 1 it costs to just move normally. So we'll go into here, then we're going to move 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5 to get in the same space as a Shinobi 1. And even though we made it into the same space, we only have 2 action points left, so I cannot attack this one. Now, I could have actually left this space and gone this way, but I would have had to go into here or here, losing 2 more honor, using more movement to get through these spaces, another 2. So it would have been 2, then 2 again, and then another movement into here, and then that would have been, I believe, a total of 5, and that, I believe, is the same cost as going the other way. So either way, I would get into either of these spaces with a total of 5 spent after I disengaged and got out of here and spent the honor, but I would not have enough to make attacks on either one of these targets. So we're basically ending things off here, and we know what's going to happen inside the enemy phase, so we'll just skip straight to that happening, and that's going to be the Shinobis are heading to the exit. Both of them have 4 action points to use. They both use 2 action points to get into the same space, and then they just simply have to use 1 more action point to get off the game board from here, unless, of course, there happened to be an enemy in the space. Then it would cost an additional 1 for them to escape. And that, my friends, results in a defeat. A very close one, though. We were able to take down the boss, which actually surprised me. We just didn't have enough in the tanks to take out both of those other Shinobis. Now, if we were in a situation where we completed the objectives, we would now check to see the group honor to see if it's past the threshold. And I can tell you right now it absolutely will be, because the threshold lowered enough based on us losing a number of champions. So there is a strategy in actually killing off some of your characters, especially in solo player, even multiplayer, to drop that threshold level to ensure your honor's above it. So that shows you can actually spend quite a bit of honor and still pull off a victory, even when things get really close and tight. And the actual group honor right now is not accurate. I believe right now on my main character, I've got a total of 7. On my red one, I've got a total of 8. So that's already a whole bunch. I've already got 15 right there. So I should actually be all the way around to here. And I believe there's a -1 on the white. So it'd be 14 total. So we'd be sitting here. So really it would be here at the moment, but that's still well past where the threshold sits at 7. And then, of course, we come down here because we're playing solo. And if I had the objectives done and I was past the threshold on the honor here, we'd also check to see if I was past on the glory side of the equation in terms of having more glory for my one main character than all the sum of the rest of the characters. Now, I would then show this because I did actually complete it, giving me 4. That would jump me 1, 2, 3, 4 to 11. But with 11 and having another individual with 9 right here already, it wouldn't take much, because just with this one alone, these two together are already way past what I have for Glory. So Glory was something I was unable to control, and I can tell you right now, definitely not putting my main champion to be the one to do the final hit on the boss hurt, because otherwise I would have shot myself up the track quite a bit higher and dropped one of these tokens down by quite a bit. But this is all hypothetical talk anyway, because I didn't complete the scenario objective, so I failed right off the hop. No need to even check the honor track or the glory track, but those are the things you'd all be checking in solo play. This was a blast to go through, and you can see there was a number of decisions that I could have made differently that would have certainly made an impact on these tracks and the outcome of the game. Now, as you'll see in the rulebook for the game, there's more beyond this. If you're just playing a one-shot like I am here, there's no need to talk about destiny points, purity points, that kind of stuff, unless it's brought up during gameplay. But when you're playing through the campaign, these things are going to have an impact as you go from scenario to scenario, and they will actually have an impact on the tracks that we talked about before, like glory, honor, and those types of things. So if you want to check out information around that and how it interacts with the game, you'll find it in the rulebook. But in terms of what I was trying to accomplish here with this one-shot, things didn't go quite to plan, but it was close. And that, my friends, wraps up my GameFound preview series on Champions of Rokugan, currently on GameFound right now. Again, if you want to see the entirety of the showcase, if you haven't already, or you want to rewatch it, you can find that playlist attached to the video or on the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching all the way along. Let me know your comments down below. I'm sure there's some things along the way that I might have missed here and there as we're going through, but absolutely what I found when going through this is once you get an idea of the core system and how this thing operates, really the options and the strategy start to open up, because you think a little less about what you have to do from turn to turn, and you start strategizing long term as to positionally how you want your individuals to go across the game board and accomplish certain tasks. And also you want to put your main champion, when you're playing solo, in prime position to take advantage of as much glory as possible. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, keep on rolling solo.